Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leaders World Institute, and we are bringing you the Leaders World today. Hey, I'm so excited. I don't know about you. You want to share this and make sure that your friends and family are tuned in. We are talking strengths leadership today, and with us, we have Maria Mayer, and we also have Adegoke Omotola with us. All right. So Maria Mayer is a certified coach, business trainer, speaker, and youth leadership development facilitator. She is the CEO of Step Up and Thrive. Step Up and Thrive. She helps professionals discover and develop personal competencies to ensure sustainable success for themselves and their organizations. She supports development process of conscious leaders, professionals, and organizational teams so that they can broaden their possibilities for achieving success, fulfilling their visions, expanding their thinking, and improving the meaning of their work, building their strengths, and enhance the quality of their relationships with colleagues and partners. After relocating to the USA, I just had a conversation with Maria. She was working with Hamilton College. She had been working since 2004, but recently she decided to put in more time and energy in her business. So Maria is collaborating with colleges, and she's also collaborating with Hamilton College at this time. Maria currently lives in central New York with her husband and 4 school-age children and a small white furry friend, Lisa. In her spare time, Maria loves spending time with her family, camping or bike riding, listening to podcasts, reading books, serving diverse communities, and knowing she is fulfilling her purpose on earth by helping individuals and organizations create an action plan to accelerate clarity, performance, and results. Ladies and gentlemen, join me. Welcome, Maria Mayer.
Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Susan, for having me.
Yes,
I'm so
Maria.
honored to be here to talk to you and just being part of this wonderful community. So thank you very much. I look forward to our session together.
Yes, Maria, we are so honored and so excited to have you. We know the work you've been doing in the leadership space, and we are so happy that you chose to hang out with us here to just add value to our audiences. We are saying thank you so much.
Of course, my pleasure. Honored to be here. Thank you.
Yes, and with us as well, we have Adegoke Omotola. He is the CEO of First Degree Consulting, a former banker, having worked with UBA PLC and Fidelity Bank PLC. He is author of Customer Retention and Experiential Approach, published in May 2009, and Practical Selling Skills, published in May 2013. He is a graduate of finance from the University of Lagos, and he holds a master's degree in property valuation and law from the prestigious City University Business School, London. He holds an MBA in management awarded by the University of Lagos. He is a certified customer service trainer from the Service Quality Institute, Minnesota, USA. He is a certified legacy trainer with the Zig Ziglar Corporation, Dallas, Texas, USA. He is certified with the John Maxwell team as a coach, trainer, and speaker. He is a full member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, a speaker on the platform of Conference Speakers International and Speakers Inc. in South Africa. He recently was conferred as a fellow of the Professional Speakers Society of Nigeria. He is a mentor with Fit Foundation, public speaker, and life coach. He is happily married with children. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Adegoke.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Susan. And it's a pleasure sharing the platform with you and my friend as well from Russia, but based in the US, an amazing lady, also adding value and the leadership space. Thank you, Mrs. Maya, for joining us as well. Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes. When you hear strengths leadership, Maria, what comes to your mind? Like, what immediately comes to your mind?
When you hear what? Sorry.
Strengths leadership.
Strengths leadership. Strengths. Well, it comes to my mind is stepping into something that you've been gifted with, that is part of your DNA. And oftentimes it's hard for us to identify what the strength is. And sometimes people get so carried away into the business of life or whatever the next step is. Like, I graduated from high school, I got to go to college, I got my college degree, I got to get a job. And oftentimes they forget to pause and reflect and think, what am I really good at? Is this what drives me? Is this my passion? So when I think of strengths leadership, is the main point here is identifying what you're good at and what are you passionate about. What is your true calling? And not always we get lucky to just pause and reflect and identify that true calling, that true passion that lives within us and just needs to be unleashed.
You just used all the powerful words.
Thank you.
That true passion that lives within us that just waits to be unleashed. Ooh, I'm going to come back to all those words. 𝗪𝗃𝗀𝐿, when you hear strengths leadership, what immediately comes to your mind?
Thank you so much, Susan. I believe strengths leadership for me is leadership from a position of adding value, being a person of influence, not focusing on your weaknesses, but rather escalating that agenda of adding value. So looking for people to get into their community and showing up time and time again, making them unlock the potential, and being a person, that is positive and staying engaged. Yeah, that's it.
Wow. So much gold coming from you both. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, adding value to our audiences and the audiences around the world. Listen, if you've not shared this, all right, you want to share it. You see how it's going already. You want to share this with your friends and family. Share it on your timeline, and also be ready with your questions, because our guests will be glad to answer your questions.
That's right.
Yes. Maria, you said something. You said sometimes it's hard to find it. Sometimes it's hard to find that space where you are gifted, that thing which is part of your DNA and what you're really good at. And you said sometimes people do not just pause and reflect. Like, why is it hard to find that sweet spot of strength? Why is it so?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. Well, sometimes just the business of life catches us, or people get stuck on you can get stuck on a certain track. Like you say, from my experience of working with students, they select a path and they want to get a degree in something, just maybe because at certain point of their life, that was their interest. But as we know, we grow and we evolve throughout our lives, and the same happens with our passion. Your interest can shift. And so it's important to pause and evaluate, is this really what's giving me fulfillment? Is this something really that's like comes from deep within me and I'm so passionate about that I can do it anytime and don't feel like I have to work and like really, really stress about it because it's my calling, it's my true passion. So that time to pause and reflect is important because it gives us space and like mental clarity to just sort things through and evaluate the situation and really identify whether this is a path you should be following and continuing.
So from what you've been saying, I've been getting a clue. You know how they say success leaves clues? I've been getting a clue. The clue of pausing and reflecting. A clue of just stopping in your tracks and asking yourself, is this really what I'm good at? Is this really my place of strength? Is this really my purpose? Is this really what I'm called to do? 𝗪𝗃𝗀𝐿, why is this hard to find? That place of strength. so we can lead from a place of strength. Why, sir?
Well, the challenge sometimes, I mean, for me, for a number of years, I couldn't lead from a place of strength because I wasn't self-aware, so yeah, so I was self-sabotaging. I just believed that I didn't have it. I didn't know that there were some skills and some gifts that, were just dormant and just lying there waiting for that potential to be harnessed. So and also the circle of friends I kept, I didn't have someone to validate me. So we all were, living a life of lack of self-awareness. But immediately I got into the community where I could tap into that connection, validation. I had someone speak to me. I got mentorship. Then clarity came. I was able to connect properly with myself and became consistent, and how, went further to engage in collaborations. And that really was a turning point for me. So I think self-awareness is very key. Self-awareness for a lot of people that might also be listening to this session. You might need to, tap into that area of your life. What are those gifts that you have that, people commend you about? What are those things that make you energetic, passionate? You just make, that sweet spot, so it's so important, self-awareness. Thanks.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay. If you're like me, you should be writing, right? Because we want to make sure that you have your takeaways for every session at Leaders World. What do? We are building leaders one leader at a time. If you're that
Awesome.
leader today, we want you to take your notes and have your takeaways. You can put them in the chat for accountability. You can write them and show them to a friend. But hey, please do not leave without a takeaway and an action point. Okay. Oh, this brings to mind. Shout out to Oliver. Oliver wrote to me and said, "Thank you so much for mentoring me through your program. Because of your program, I am writing my 11th book."
Awesome.
Yes. So shout out to you, Oliver, and thank you for that testimonial. That truly, it's what this is all about. Thank you so much. And I want you to know, Maria and 𝗹𝗃𝗃, that we are all part of that mentorship. We
Thank
are
you.
mentoring so many people remotely from afar. So everything you're saying is precious to us. So thank you so much for sharing. Self-awareness. You talked about self-awareness, and that some people do not just have that self-awareness. And for you, that self-awareness began to kick in when your circle of friends began to shift.
That's right.
Your circle of friendships began to shift, and then you got mentorship and people spoke into your life, and then you developed consistency, and then you started broadening your collaborations. Listen, for somebody out there, that might just be it, and you're done for today. You just want to go broaden your collaborations. You just want to plug in with a mentor that's going to help you get into that space of self-awareness, because every change begins with self-awareness. You cannot change what you're not aware of, right? Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Because you also talked about how those gifts are dormant. They are there. They are potential. And I think that's exactly what Maria was telling us about, how it's there within you. It's in your DNA, but you need to be able to find it. Wow. Thank you so much. Now, we live in a society where it's very easy to recognize what's not going wrong. Whether in our children, in our colleagues, in our, like, everywhere, even in the nation, on the road, the streets. It's very easy to recognize what's going wrong instead of appreciating what is going right.
That's right.
How does this connect with strengths leadership, Maria?
Yeah, so I wanted to continue a little bit on that. Your question, perfect timing, goes very well along with the line that our other guest, sorry, what's your name?
𝗹𝗃𝗃.
𝗹𝗃𝗃𝗃. It means climb up. Yeah.
Climb up, step up. Yeah.
Step up.
Cool. That's a great name.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thanks. Thanks.
It goes great with what you just shared, the law of environment. So who we are surrounded with. And sometimes there can be friends in our circle of influence or even relatives who may not believe in us. And they may drop a negative comment, or your colleagues or somebody in your circle, right? In the people, like maybe one or two people, and it doesn't take many, it can only take one person, and it's enough for us to start that negative self-talk. So when you hear something like, oh, you're not going to be good at it, or like, why would you even try, you never did it before. So it may take just one voice speaking into your life, and your belief will kick into the limiting mode, and you'll like question, is it really, maybe I shouldn't even try it. Maybe this is not my strength. So instead of believing what's in you, and you like really feel like you're called to do it, and you want to do it just because you feel strong about it, and you feel
That's
like
right.
this might be your next successful journey. Sometimes we fall into the trap of believing what other people say, or believing the voices we hear, or just believing in our negative self-talk and self-doubt. And that's when the shift can happen, that you don't stay in your strength zone.
Wow, wow, wow. We just needed that, Maria. Thank you. We just needed that. The law of environment. And I like the way you said it. You said sometimes it's just that one negative sentence and a limitation kicks in. It just kicks in. And I remember 𝗹𝗃𝗃𝐽 talked about self-sabotage, and then you start sabotaging yourself, and you're wondering, wait, can I really do this? Because of that one voice, that one voice. Listen, friends, who is speaking to you? Who are the voices speaking to you? What is that one voice that has kicked in and paralyzed your vision, paralyzed your purpose? It's time to unpack what the real situation is so we can deal with it appropriately. Now, Maria, you just opened something, the law of environment. 𝗹𝗃𝗃𝐽, would you like to talk a little bit into that?
Well, that's so key, Maria. You really hit the nail on the head, because I feel that a lot of people that are not really doing well is because of the environment.
Yes.
Yeah, if the environment that you grew up also determines how successful you're going to become. And if you don't get the right people to speak into your life, you can become a victim of that environment. You have that victim mentality. You want to rise up, but because you are not seeing anything that resonates with what you should see.
Yes.
Yeah, because some of us, the privilege that we've had of traveling abroad. I remember the first time I went for a course in Minnesota to become a certified customer service trainer. The Twin Cities, Minneapolis. It was mind blowing for me. I said, "Wow, this is awesome." And I got into the right community. People from different countries, and just that encounter was mind changing.
Yes.
Was
Yes.
life changing. And
Yes.
11 years after, I can tell you, I've built relationships, gone on to build even bigger relationships. And there was a lady there from Jamaica that taught us, some skills on, in terms of empowering people. And
Yeah.
she was so self-aware. She was quite young, and she
Mhm.
was so excited, passionate about life. Immediately I caught that fire. I caught that spirit, and it's just been up and up. So
Wow.
I environment is very important. If I never attended that course, that program, probably I would just still be an average person. But it stretched me. The law of
Yes.
the rubber band. My mind was stretched.
Yes.
I looked at myself, and I saw myself through that lady, and I said, if this lady can be doing so well,
Yes.
I can also do it. Yeah.
I can also do it. I can also do it. The law of environment. What
Mm.
is your circle of influence? Who are you connecting with? Is it
Yeah.
time to change um some people and just connect with some other people. Maria, what is the best way as a leader to invest in people? What would that be?
So from my experience working back, I started my career back in a big city hall in Russia early in life when I was in my 20s. And I quickly learned, I was one of the youngest, being an executive assistant to the mayor and the first deputy, that connecting and really listening are the vital skills that a person starting a leadership journey or any journey in the career path should have. Having the ability to listen and the teachability is just so important. When you listen, you hear what is being said, and you take the messages and you learn from them. So having that teachability and open mind helped me tremendously. And when I moved here to the US and started working with students in a supervisor capacity, listening to them and then empowering them was vital in my success as just a supervisor as I started connecting with students. So giving them assignments and empowering them, and then following up and doing this sort of mentorship, little mentorship where you watch how they do it and then you critique a little bit, and then just giving them the sense of their own responsibility, that empowerment. And they seem to have enjoyed working on my team, and just giving them little assignments at a time and making them more and more complicated. Been very enjoyable for me, and I think those who worked with me enjoyed it as well. It's too bad that it's short time, because they usually graduate 4 years and then they go into the big wide world. But it's been a very joyful and great experience in my case.
Empower them. 𝗧𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴, did you want to chime in into that?
Well, I just want to salute Maria for that, because, when she talked about listening and being also able to connect, because John talks about, everyone communicates, few connect, there's, what strikes me is Maria is a very deep person. I learned something on a podcast yesterday about the 3 V's of communication. You have to visualize, vocalize, verbalize. She already knew.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to repeat the 3 V's now?
We're always learning. Good stuff. You have to visualize, vocalize,
yes,
and verbalize.
All right.
And that's what Maria did. She knew where she was headed to. She had clarity about the message she wanted to communicate, and she had it in her mind. Now, how was she going to take that message and pass it across to the students? So the students she was supervising. So not just visualizing it. What she now did was that she had to communicate it in a way that will resonate. So she earned the trust and the respect of the students. All right. She became a relatable person. Okay. And that was, she was vocalizing it, speaking it, and also reassuring them that this is the path, So then when she vocalized it, what she also did was that she stayed engaged. She was part of their growth. She was like a mentor, so she wasn't like dumping the message on them. She was receiving feedback. So it was a two-way communication. Yeah. So visualize, vocalize, and verbalize. Yeah.
Building strengths leadership. This is so beautiful. 𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴, tell us about building strengths-based teams. How does this work, and how vital is this?
Well, I'm a product of so many learnings. When I look at Zig Ziglar, I attended this course in Dallas in 2014. It's called the Legacy Training. And there's something called the bicycle strategy. You can't give what you don't have. There are different spokes on the tire. But, in your life, you have the personal, you have the physical, spiritual, financial, career, and so on and so forth. And so on each the KPIs, on each one, you have to continue to grow your understanding and your knowledge. For example, if you are someone who has a lifestyle of, maybe you do exercise, you are also building your strength. But if you are good mentally, you are good financially, but you don't have a good lifestyle in terms of your diet, in terms of your exercise, you don't have that, and that one is really on a 2 level, it affects the other ones. So while you're trying to build strength, you are building strength in, so all the spokes, so your tire is properly aligned. If your tire is not properly aligned, the tire will be out of shape, and so it's not moving smoothly. So it's like a governor
strategy.
So it has to be like an apple, so it is rolling properly, or like an orange. So
How does this relate to building teams?
now when you build your strength, that's why I'm saying that if you build your strength well, then you can build teams. Because if you show up as a leader and you are not well rounded, what you just be giving negative vibes. All right. So one, like you said, strengths, the concept of your show is about building one person at a time.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
yeah. So when you empower one person, that one person also becomes, an advocate. It becomes, there's a multiplier effect. All right.
Yes.
So the first thing you need, it still talks about self-awareness. Build yourself first, self-leadership, self-coaching, then you're able to build a team. Now, what happens is that when you get into that mode of empowering one person, it becomes like a domino effect.
Yes.
For example, I never had anyone to lead for a very long time because one, I wasn't self-aware. So, but when I started building, I built my strength and I started one person at a time. So it became like a movement. So, so if I can use the acronym of John, LEAD, you learn, you equip, you apply, and you develop. Learn, equip, apply, develop. So you have to learn first, which is build up yourself. All right. You equip others, which is your team. What you've learned, don't keep it to yourself. Look for others to share with. All right. Okay. Now, also, those people as well, they apply it in their lives, and there's application, because equipping without application is a challenge. Now, when you do that, you now develop more people. So that's the acronym I want to use. Yeah, thanks.
Wow, thank you. Yeah. Maria, we are still on building strengths-based teams, because sometimes like teams become toxic. How do we get from the excitement from the beginning of when people are being hired to, months later, it's so toxic and I can't just do this no more. I need to find another space, not because I don't like my job, but because this environment is toxic. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on strengths-based leadership, because John tells us everything rises and falls on leadership. Ma'am. Yes.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. That's a really good question. I think it goes really deeply rooted into the culture. And sometimes culture within the organization takes a long time to build and keep it in the sustainable mode to avoid the toxicity and keep it in a positive, general environment. Specifically, like I recently witnessed, I was facilitating several Change Your World tables, including my former colleagues. And many organizations around the world are facing this great resignation trend, right? People leaving, new people coming in, new people onboarding. It takes a while to rebuild that structure. Not rebuild, but get the new people acquainted and completely acclimated, just like a plant, right? If I move my plant from here into another soil, it takes a while for that plant to reacclimate and make sure that it grows and it becomes a thriving, happy plant, blooming and growing vigorously. And the same with new employees. So those people that participated in my Change Your World table, several actually gave the testimonials after that, how important for them was to have that sense of community and engagement, staying engaged.
Yes.
So after COVID especially, and I don't want to say that word because I think we're all kind of sick and tired of hearing it, but after certain, conditions we were all in all over the world for the past 2 years, it's hard for leaders in the organizations to sustain that culture, and especially with new members coming on board, it's hard to find that fine balance where the new people would feel equally engaged, maybe validated, empowered, equipped. So it's important for the leader to identify how to keep all the people, all the team members on the team engaged, identify their strengths, and it starts with the leader personally. Again, it goes back to that self-awareness. The leader needs to be consistently self-aware, like, okay, see what's happening right now. Who needs more attention, maybe? Who needs more of my attention? Who needs more mentoring? Who needs to be listened to? If there is a person who you see is unhappy, maybe there are reasons why they're not happy.
Yes.
So having that dialogue and open communication channels and making sure everybody is like all hands on deck, everybody is equally engaged, involved, feels valued, feels listened to. This is important because I think when the conditions by the leader are created in the right balance, the plant overall, the culture and the organization will start blooming vigorously. And it's the job of the leader to make sure that that balance and that condition, those conditions are watched and monitored and fertilized in the right way. If there is a need for something else, the leader is the one who should make sure and identify, and it comes with the leader. Yes, it's the self-awareness that he as a gardener should be watching how the garden is growing.
And I like how you talk about the garden, because in my brain right now, I'm just seeing a garden where the leader is actually, the leader has already planted the values that the leader wants to see in the organization and is watering. That's the picture that just came to my mind. The leader is watering the values, and when those values begin to blossom and bloom,
beautiful things happen, right?
Beautiful things happen sweatlessly. Beautiful things happen, and everybody's like, would be like, how did this happen? Somebody became self-aware and somebody put themselves to work.
Yes. And sometimes, just like my friend just gave an analogy with a bicycle, I actually have a quote here about the bicycle as well. Life is like a 10-speed bike. Most of us have gears that we don't use.
Wow.
And it was said by Charles Schulz. And the same with us or anyone or a leader. The leader might have, there are some people that get stuck in their position and they become positional leaders. So they have all those gears, but they stop using
them. They're not using it.
Yes, because they're just, I've arrived. I'm in the big position. I don't need to use all my gears anymore. So therefore, their identification process as a leader becomes weaker, and they don't see the potential in those that are around them.
Wow. Oh, awesome. that brings me to this quote. I don't know exactly who said it, but someone said there is no such thing as well-rounded individuals. 𝗪𝗪. There is no such thing as well-rounded individuals. You can only have well-rounded teams.
Wow.
Do you agree with that, 𝗪𝗪?
I think it's so important. The influence or the impact of a leader can only be felt through the teams, through the team members. And that's why everything.
Wait, stop. Can you say that again? The influence of a
leader can only be seen or felt through the team members.
Wow. So if I want to know if I am successful, I shouldn't look at myself and begin to give myself pats on the back. I should look at my team members and how well they are faring.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
That is a true measure of my success.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Tell us more.
Yeah, because, sometimes leaders can become so detached from reality. You play too, and, you get to a level where you begin to give yourself all the accolades, and you see more of yourself than see more of others. When a leader sees less of others, then the leader begins to plateau. You need to see yourself through the lenses of your people. Push them. You want to bring out the potentials, and the more you do that, the better you become. You are an autopilot, so you are not really the leader that is pushing people. You're a leader that is transformational. All right. There's a difference between being a transactional leader and a transformational leader. A transactional leader just wants to get all the accolades. A transformational leader wants the accolades to be on the team members. And once the team members are pushing, the best teams in the world, whether it's football or, basketball, the coach gets the accolade because the team members are pushing. They're getting the ball into the net, the hoops, all that. So yeah, it's all about your team members. It's not just about you.
It's all about your team members. This is getting so good. And I'm thinking somebody might have a question somewhere. And when we come back, we'll be taking your questions.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.
Well, this is the Leaders World, brought to you by Leaders World Institute. And I am here with 𝗹𝗶𝘃, and Maria is also here. And what are we talking about? We are talking strengths leadership. Strengths leadership. We are ready to take your questions. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. We are going to see those questions. But for right now, just to be sure that you're really engaged with us, can you just put in the chat #strengths leadership? #strengths leadership. Let's know you're there. Engage with us. We're talking strengths leadership. Sometimes we find ourselves in environments where we have a certain level of self-awareness, and maybe our leader isn't just there yet. Is it possible to lead up, Maria? Is it possible to lead up?
Absolutely. It's very possible. As long as you don't, like certain organizations have the hierarchy, right? There is a position in you, for instance, you're a staff member and there is the boss above you and then another boss and another boss. It's possible to just continuously add value and help. And when John Maxwell identifies leadership as influence, nothing more, nothing less. So it doesn't have to be just positional leadership. You can continuously.
Can you say the thing about John Maxwell again, please?
Yeah, he identifies leadership as influence, and we all have influence. We have influence in our neighborhoods with our neighbors. Just because we help them or talk about certain things, or just because we do have influence, and it doesn't have to be the positional. Like, it doesn't have to be just like I'm in a certain position and this is where I am and therefore I cannot do anything beyond. You can always add value to people around you, and you don't have to be you don't have to have a certain position or a certain title. It just starts with us. When you have a pure heart of serving and adding value, that's how you establish your leadership, your influence. And say, for instance, if a person is in a position of maybe a maintenance person who comes and cleans the floors and does maintenance, right? Make sure everything runs right. Yes. But adding value to somebody who is above, just even giving advice or just coming with a pure heart and best intentions and giving some good advice about certain things. That's how you build your influence, and people see it in you, and people come and ask you for advice in the future will start coming when you have this pure intention of adding value. So that's how I look at it.
And at some point I came to realize that adding value is not just what you do, is an awareness that you become.
Yes.
It's a mindset that you become, so that it's not specific things that you have to do. It's sometimes just a presence that you bring that is the value that's needed. Sometimes it's maybe just a smile. That's the value that Adegoke wants to tell us something. Go ahead, sir.
Honestly, you know, I learned something yesterday as well, that, you know, a smile, it doesn't cost you anything, but it gets you so much, you know. That you find that people that smile, you know, even in communicating, they go very far. You know, a smile makes you attract a lot of attention. It makes you gain the trust of your followers. It makes you also someone that becomes a person that people want to listen to and also speak to. You know, for many years, I was always frowning because you know, you know, because I wasn't self-aware and things were not really moving.
You were always frowning.
Yeah, because things were not working out, you know. So because I wasn't self-aware, you know, and I always saw that other people were getting attention.
You know, I'm laughing because, hey, that makes me feel more comfortable, because mine wasn't just frowning. I was actually a depressed child. I grew up as a very depressed child. Yes.
Wow.
Because I lost my mom as a child growing up, and all that goes with that stuff. You know, my father wasn't really in my life, though he was very much alive. And all of that, I had this straight, dangerous face.
Wow. And John, you know, I mean, I can connect with what John said, you know, several years ago. I think through one of his books, you know, that, you know, your smile, you know, it's, you don't have to pay for it, but it makes your face very pleasant. It makes people notice you. And, you know, when you smile, the world smiles at you. When you frown, the world frowns at you. You know, when you look at people, their Facebook photo or their profile, and you know, the survey was done, and you see someone frowning on the Facebook profile, most of the friends are also people that frown.
Isn't that interesting?
Honestly, you can do your research.
It's like the law of attraction, and we just attract who we are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. So we can actually lead up no matter where we are, because leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. We don't have to have titles. It's about self-awareness, knowing who you are, knowing what you bring, and bringing it. So, now, what key strengths must a leader possess, and how can that leader develop those strengths? Adegoke, what key strengths must a leader possess, and how can the leader develop those qualities?
Well, there's so many strengths, you know, like I just want to use myself as an example. You know, during the early in the year, I just received some clarity as to what I should do, 3 C's, and I call them, you know, consistency, you know, clarity, and collaboration. Or should I say clarity, consistency, and collaboration? Just 3. I don't want to go into too many. If I'm clear about where I'm headed to, it also helps the people in my team to get momentum as well. And I also have to be consistent, because what happens is a lot of leaders, some leaders rather, I don't want to say a lot, some leaders are not consistent. Today you see them show up, tomorrow you don't see them. And that takes a lot of energy out of their movement. So, and you know, just like, you know, this your program, if you do it so well and you stop doing it in another 6 months and you want to come back again, you will lose traction. I've been having my podcast, Leadership Talk with Adegoke, since August 15, 2020. And I've been doing it every week, every Sunday. In fact, even the next session has been programmed for the next 2 hours. I mean, people are going to be watching live all over the world. It's on Facebook. Yeah. So whether I'm sleeping or I'm
clarity, consistency, collaboration.
And so the third one is collaboration. I don't show up alone. I show up with others.
Wow.
You know, I've had the podcast is interview based. I've had people from Spain, you know, everywhere in the world, you know,
Yeah.
and so I mean, so clarity, consistency, and collaboration. So
Thank
that's
you.
for me. Yeah.
Thank, thank you so much, Maria. Did you want to chime in into the strengths that leaders must possess and how to develop those?
Yeah, I want to add some. These are really great ones, but I pointed for myself that I always go by. There, I have five, and they're
Yes.
self-awareness, as we talked earlier. A
Yes.
leader has to be self-aware because you can't give what you don't have. So
Yeah.
you need to be aware what you're lacking or where you are in order to add value and serve others around you. Self-image, having a positive self-image is very important. Just watching your thoughts, guiding your mindset, what you think about, you bring about. So you have to
Yes.
have that strong positive mindset. Self-honesty, it's very
Mm.
important for the leader to be integrous, and the
Yes.
integrity level has to be always guarded and watched. Self-improvement,
Mm.
you should be always willing to grow as a leader, because again, you won't be able to give more to others if you don't grow yourself. And then
Yes.
self-responsibility, I always think it's a leader's responsibility not to blame others, not to, if something didn't work right, you got to look from within and see why it didn't work right, or how can you improve, not put the blame like, oh, it didn't work right because so and so and my team, didn't do good. So
Mm.
these five qualities are very important. Again, it's self-awareness, self-honesty, self-image, self-responsibility, and self-improvement.
You
Awesome.
know, because you said those, Maria, I'd like us to delve into a personal branding. But we're talking about strengths leadership. Can we talk a bit about personal branding? How does it happen? And Adegoke, we are looking at personal branding. You know,
Mm.
Maria just opened us up into something. She talked about self-awareness, self-image, self-honesty, self-improvement, self-responsibility, self. Okay, let's look a little bit into personal branding. What is personal branding, and how is this vital in the leadership space, Adegoke?
Awesome. That's good. It's a great question. I love that question. Yeah, well, I think personal brand is who you are, you know, and what you're trying to communicate, what you're trying to convey to your audience, you know. Um, you see, the truth of the matter is that, you know, we all have a message, we all have an identity, you know, which is unique and authentic to us. And
Yes.
so many people out there just they love something fresh, something authentic. Now you have to package it in such a way that it can resonate with your audience. I remember when I started Leadership Talk with Adegoke, you know, the show was just going on, and you know, for months, and it didn't have a name. And one of my colleagues on the John Maxwell team said, look, why don't you just give this program a name, you know? And immediately I gave it a name, you know, Leadership Talk with Adegoke. Eventually became the name of my podcast. So you know, we did the cover of the podcast and all that. Then the next thing was like, oh, so what do I do? Now that is now a brand. How do I project it? So I got someone who made a shirt for me. I'm not wearing it today, but you know, because I'm on your show, you know.
Bring the
So
shirt, bring the shirt, bring the shirt.
so
You're coming next time and you're bringing the shirt. You are.
yeah. So the shirt I have it has Leadership Talk with Adegoke. I wear it everywhere I go right now. You know, I wear it, you know, if you call me to come and speak, you know, so the shirt has Leadership Talk with Adegoke. I have a mug on my show. So that's now translated on my show. I have a sponsor uh for my podcast, you know, which is
Wow.
so I get paid for that, you know. So you find that that's just that, you know, it has now become a brand, you know. So it's not just about Goke anymore. It's Leadership Talk with Adegoke. We have the shirt, we have the cup, we have the logo is, you know. So
But
and I
that
have the
started
hash,
with you as a person.
yeah. So the hashtag, you know. So once you just type in Leadership Talk with Adegoke, it goes viral, you know.
Mhm.
You see. So I enter offices and say, oh, you know, what is this Leadership Talk with Adegoke? I said, yeah, that's my podcast. So I don't just go in there. I go in there with, communicating that brand, that message.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Tell us, Maria, you are the CEO of Step Up and Thrive. Tell us about personal branding and how relevant is this in the leadership space?
Yeah, so well, I want to start with saying that I'm fairly new because I just started my company 3 months ago. So I'm still learning. I don't really have really lots of insight into that, but I would love to share what I learned.
Yes.
So, of course, branding is all about your voice, your true, unique, authentic voice, and your input and impact that you can bring to the table. So it's important to brand yourself according to those core values or your true voice that you want to bring into the world and how you want to connect with people that you want to serve. So for this to happen, you need to have your logo, your maybe motto, your mission statement, what you do, why you do. I think why question has always been important in my life. So asking yourself why, say why your company does what it does and why you want to serve people and who do you want to serve. So all this is connected with your branding, how you're positioning yourself in the world, who is your niche, who do you want to connect with, who do you want to serve.
Wow.
And that's important, and I'm still learning. I don't have a podcast. I would love to be more collaborate with more people in the world.
Wow. So Maria, I'll be invited to my podcast as well. All right.
I would love to. Sure, I would be honored to do that.
This is what we're talking about. This is what we talk. Hey, one of the shows that we had, one of the guests was talking about his book and how he was hoping to have people like get his book in the market in other places in the world. And one of our listeners wrote to me and said, hey, if you don't mind, I am willing to help. I want to help him get his books out here in this place and this place and this place. I was like, so I sent him the message. I said, this is what one of the listeners is saying. He said, this is the type of partnership we're talking about. And we were both so excited. Yay. So, okay, I get excited like that. All right. So that's
it's okay.
All right. So we're talking about core values. Maria talked about core values and your true voice that you're bringing into the world. Your true voice that you're bringing into the world and how you reflect those core values. We barely have about 6 more minutes. This is usually not my favorite time of this podcast or broadcast or show because we are drawing down to a close.
Went by fast.
I mean, when you have 𝗹𝗶𝘃 in the room and you have Maria in the room, seems like an explosion already. So, what are you most intentional about, 𝗹𝗃, in your life? What are you most intentional about?
Well, I'm just intentional about showing up. Yeah. I don't want to be missing in action. I've lost so much time, in the past not showing up. And I realized that it didn't do me any good. The more I show up, the more value I bring into the space.
What
the more
do you mean
collaboration.
by showing up, 𝗹𝗃?
When I say show up, it means showing up intentionally and living a life of significance.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to show up in people's stories. I want to be part of people's journey. Okay. Just like I told Maria right now, I just want her to come on my podcast. I want to show up in a story.
Yes.
I'm showing up in your story.
Yes.
I'm showing up. So every day I'm showing up.
Well, 𝗹𝗃, somebody might be listening to you and they're thinking, I'd like to show up like 𝗹𝗃.
Yeah.
How do you start this whole showing up thing?
Yeah, it starts from self-awareness. I realized that my life was not just meant to be I wasn't meant to just be dormant. I'm meant to there's so much on my inside that I need to share with the world. I need to live a life of legacy. So yeah.
Wow. Did
show
that
up,
push you? Did
not
that
just
push
for
you to
no,
develop yourself? Did that
yeah,
push you? I know you've been collaborating and learning from
yeah,
others.
yeah,
Did that push you to read books and
yeah,
all that stuff?
yeah, because you see, you can't give what you don't have. You have to
Mm.
be a student, all your life when you want to show up learning new stuff, because the challenge with some people is they show up and they run out of ideas, so yeah, so you have to be
You don't
learning
want
from
to
people.
show up and run out of gas. You want to
Yeah, so
show up maxed out and
yeah,
deliver and still
yeah,
have more than enough for the next session.
yeah, so you have to be willing to learn even from people that are younger than you, people that are newer they're new in the market. So
Yes.
don't take it for granted that you show up and you continue to show up. Learn from other people. You need people to
Wow.
push you, even if you're doing so well, the best leaders in the world. For John to show up, he shows up through us. We are showing up and John is showing up. We're John Maxwell leadership members. The more we show up, the more John is showing up. So yeah,
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
win-win. Yeah.
Yes. It's a win-win. Okay. All right, we just let the secret out. We are all certified with the John Maxwell team. Okay. We just let the secret out. So if you're interested in this type of connection, you can reach out to us. I'll put 𝗪𝗃𝐿𝐾's website in the chat, and I'll also put Maria's information in the chat. You can reach out to
Thank you.
any of us. We can hook you up. We can help you connect you to what the streams we are drinking from. And hey, at Leaders World Institute, we offer training and we offer coaching. We are here to help. Maria, what are you most intentional about?
So I go by one of my mentors in John Maxwell team gave this great advice that I actually printed out, and it's 6 simple questions. And I have it in my kitchen every morning when I start with my morning routine. I look at these questions and I do this quick self-assessment. It's like my checkbox, and I'm going to name you these questions now. Question number 1, I ask myself, what do I need to do today? Number 2, who do I need to call? 3, what do I need to read today? 4, what do I need to listen to today? So what am I feeding my mind with, like books and listening? What am I looking for? Number 5. And number 6, what am I going to do for fun today?
Wait, Maria, where have you posted those questions? Because I need to post those questions somewhere.
I posted right on my cupboard, right in the kitchen, by my coffee machine. When I go do coffee and just start my morning routine, I look at the questions, they're there, and it just became so embedded in my daily ritual that I just look, and while I'm getting the day started and going through the hassle of things, I'm thinking about all this and like setting up the intention for the day. And that's been so beneficial. I highly recommend to just do this self-check. It's very, very effective.
That's my number 1 action point. I'm going with that. Thank you so much for sharing. The other question is, what experiences have helped you believe more in your ability to make a difference at 𝗃𝗃𝐾? What experiences have helped you believe more in your ability to make a difference?
Well, I mean, when I realized that, I wasn't meant to be a failure, things started happening, and when I became self-aware, I wrote my first book. That was 12 years ago, Customer Retention and Experiential Approach.
Yes.
And, now we've had the 4th reprint, like the 4th edition. It's been a blessing to so many people. It's helped them to grow their business. And that really, really changed the narrative for me, because I before then I usually thought I didn't have much. So people come back to me and say, wow, thank you for your book. That book was life-changing. And so that was a shift. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We know 𝗃𝗃𝐾 is having a podcast very, very soon. You're all invited to log in and watch. It's going to be on Facebook Live in a couple of minutes. And Maria is going to be having a virtual workshop, which is connecting beyond words. Maria, do you want to tell us about it a little bit?
Yeah, so in my workshop, I will be sharing some tips. We can all communicate, but not everybody connects. How can you connect effectively in this world of basically zero human connection, because we're all in this virtual world? So it's important to kind of identify those main key points, how we can communicate effectively, not just beyond words, and connect with people around us. And I will share some connecting principles and connecting practices. And it's going to be about probably 45-minute workshop. I will share the landing page. Maybe Susan, would it be good in the
yeah,
or
definitely.
should I share it with you?
Yeah.
The registration just
And
for
you can actually put it in the comments right now if you're able to.
I will do it later.
Otherwise, I can do that for you later on.
Yeah.
𝗵𝗃𝐺𝐿, we are at the top of the hour. People came here to listen to you. They're going to listen after now on our podcast, on the YouTube, on LinkedIn, and in other places. Your last words to them.
My last word is, if you're out there and you desire to be a person of impact, I want you to be clear. I want you to be consistent. And I also want you to collaborate.
Maria, your last words to our audiences.
I would like to share my main motto, do it now. Life is too short to delay. Life is too short to stay in your comfort zone and be afraid of doing something that you haven't done before. You need to stretch and just pass that fear zone, and you will be amazed to see what's awaiting for you on the other side of your fear. And I would encourage you to just do it now.
Well, you heard it. Gain clarity. Be consistent. Collaborate. Go ahead and do it now, and we'll see you.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.